You walk into a dark room and something is watching you from the wall. Two wide eyes, a small, startled mouth. Your hand finds the light switch before your mind catches up, and for a second you're braced for something looking back. Then the light comes on. It's an electrical outlet, two round holes, one long slot below them. Nothing else. It was never watching you. For half a second, before you even had time to think about it, your brain built a face out of plastic and wire and believed it. That's not a glitch. It's one of the oldest reflexes you own. Psychologists call it pareidolia. The tendency to see faces in things that have no face at all. Clouds, car headlights, burnt toast, the moon. It happens in under 200 milliseconds, faster than you can decide to look away. And once you notice it, you can't stop seeing it. Here's why it happens. Deep in your brain, just behind your right ear, there's a region called the fusiform face area. Its only job is faces. It doesn't wait for a clear, obvious face to activate. It runs on a loose template, 2 dots for eyes, a line for a mouth. Show it almost anything that fits that pattern, and it fires. Scientists have watched it happen in real time. Show someone a real face, and the fusiform face area lights up in about 70 milliseconds. Show them a pareidolia face, a rock, an outlet, a cloud, and the same region lights up less than 1/10 of a second later. Your brain barely tells the difference. For a fraction of a second, it isn't sure there's a difference at all. That raises an odd question. Why would a brain build a system this easy to fool? The likely answer is that it isn't a flaw. It's a trade. Imagine you're an early human walking through tall grass. Something moves, something with eyes, watching you from the shadows. If you're wrong and it's just a shadow, you've wasted half a second glancing over. But if you're right and you don't notice, you're dead. So evolution didn't build a brain that waits for certainty. It built one that jumps to conclusions. A system that would rather see 100 faces that aren't there than miss the one that is. Researchers call this a hyperactive agency detector. It's not just about faces. It's about sensing a mind behind something, an intention, a watcher. Faces just happen to be the sharpest trigger for it, because for almost your entire history as a species, a face meant something that could think, decide, and act. Friend or threat, it was worth knowing. The cost of a false alarm was nothing. The cost of missing the real thing was everything. That imbalance is still running in your head today, thousands of years after it stopped being necessary. And it isn't something you pick up later, as a kid, from culture or habit. You're born with it already running. Show a newborn baby, only minutes old, 2 patterns. One arranged roughly like a face, 2 shapes up top, one below. The other made of the exact same 3 shapes, scrambled into a random order. The newborn looks longer at the face-like one, almost every time. This is a baby who can't recognize its own mother yet, who can barely focus past the length of its own arm, and somehow the rough idea of a face is already wired in, before the eyes have learned almost anything else about the world. Whatever this is, it isn't taught. It's a factory setting. That reflex has produced some strange history. In July 1976, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter photographed a stretch of Martian desert called Cydonia. Buried in the frame was a mile-wide mesa. Except in that image, lit at a low angle by the setting sun, the mesa didn't look like a mesa. It looked like a face, carved eyes, a ridged nose, a stone mouth slightly open. NASA released the photo as a curiosity, a trick of light and shadow, they said, and moved on. The public didn't move on. For over 20 years, the face on Mars fueled theories about lost civilizations and buried monuments, built by people who couldn't shake the feeling that something was looking back at them. Then, in the late 90s, a sharper camera flew over the same ground, 10 times the resolution. No low sun, no long shadows. The face was gone. What was left was an ordinary eroded hill, no different from 1,000 others nearby. Nothing had changed on Mars. What changed was the lighting, and the resolution, and how much your brain had to fill in the gaps. The less detail you give that face-detecting system, the harder it works to complete the picture. It isn't only your eyes that do this. Play someone a loop of meaningless static, low and steady, for long enough, and something strange happens. Words start to surface, not real words, not really there, but the ear builds them anyway, the same way the eye builds a face out of two dots and a line. In the 1990s, a psychologist named Deutsch built a setup that played the same short, meaningless sound over and over endlessly from two speakers at once. Listeners didn't hear noise for long. They heard phrases, sentences, sometimes their own name. Ask 10 people what they heard, and you'll get 10 different answers, because there was never anything there to disagree about, just noise, and a brain that refused to leave it as noise. It's the same trick behind backmasking, the old claim that hidden messages were buried backward inside songs. Play a track in reverse, tell someone what to listen for, and they'll hear it, clear as day. Tell them nothing, and most people hear nothing but garbled sound. The message was never in the recording. It was supplied by the listener, the moment someone told them where to look for it. Your ears do exactly what your eyes do. They'd rather hand you a false pattern than admit they found nothing at all. None of this needs a Mars rover or a pair of speakers in a lab. It's happening closer than that. In 2011, researchers asked people to look at nothing but the fronts of ordinary cars and rate them the way you'd rate a stranger. Friendly, angry, tired, young. People had no trouble doing it. Headlights read as eyes, the grille read as a mouth or a nose. A wide grille and narrow slanted headlights got called aggressive. Round headlights and a soft curved grille got called friendly, even cute. Brain scans back this up. Look at a car's front end, and the same fusiform face area that processes human faces switches on, scaled to how face-like the car looks to you. Car designers know this, even if they don't call it pareidolia. That's why so many headlights look narrowed, why so many grills look like a set jaw. They're not just designing a car, they're designing an expression for a brain that's going to read one whether they intend it or not. There's a place where this reflex stops being a curiosity and starts being something doctors actually use. It's called the noise pareidolia test. Patients are shown 40 images of pure visual static, meaningless black and white noise, nothing hidden in most of them. But in 8 of the 40, a real face is buried faintly inside the noise. Healthy people mostly find the 8 real faces and shrug off the rest as static. But in a condition called dementia with Lewy bodies, closely related to Parkinson's and one of the most common causes of visual hallucinations in older adults, something different happens. Patients see faces almost everywhere, in images that are pure noise, in images that were never meant to contain anything at all. The same overactive detector that makes you jump at a wall socket is, in these patients, running with no brake. Researchers have found that how often someone sees a face in pure static correlates with reduced blood flow in the same visual regions responsible for real hallucinations. A sheet of black and white noise and a doctor counting how many faces a patient finds in it has become an actual diagnostic clue for a disease that's otherwise difficult to catch early. The same glitch that turns an outlet into a face, pushed just slightly further, can be a warning sign. Most of us live comfortably on the harmless end of that same reflex. Not every use of it is a warning either. In the early 1500s, Leonardo da Vinci wrote instructions for other painters. Stare at a wall stained with damp, he told them. Don't clean it. Study it. In the stains, he wrote, you could find landscapes, battles, strange faces, an endless variety of things if you let your mind sit with the noise long enough to shape it. He wasn't describing a trick on the mind. He was describing the same reflex, running in reverse, using the brain's hunger for pattern as a tool. Instead of dismissing it as a flaw, painters still do versions of this today. So do you probably staring at a ceiling stain or a bathroom tile, waiting for a shape to resolve into something almost recognizable. So the next time a wall socket startles you in a dark room, or a knot in a wooden door seems to watch you walk past, you're not imagining it out of nowhere. You're running software installed a very long time ago for a world that's mostly gone. A world where the one time it mattered, seeing the face first is what kept you alive. Your brain hasn't updated that program since. It still checks every shadow. It still finds a face in almost anything. Every outlet, every headlight, every stain on a wall, and every stretch of static. None of it is out to get you. None of it ever was. It's just an old machine, doing the one job it was built to never fail at, long after the world that built it disappeared. Because somewhere back in the dark of your own history, the things that didn't check didn't get to become you.